In this course, we have spent a great deal of time discussing the restrictions and freedoms of originality as well as reuse and remix when it comes to composition in all its forms. In this video, we will be examining adaptation as a force in the modern film industry and as a field for confrontations between two different modes of composition, novels and movies. Literature has been used as the basis story for films since the beginning of cinematography. Today, adaptation is more popular than ever. Novels represent ready-made material that can be sold in tandem with film and media products, and often already have established fan bases. Adaptations can be classic novels with cultural presence, recent bestsellers, or even novels that have not yet hit the shelves when the film rights are bought. One of the paramount questions that arises in this trend of adaptation is whether or not the novel or film product is the best between the two. A definitive answer to this question is quite difficult, but in this video, we will examine one adaptation that took a bold approach to retelling a story. The Silver Linings Playbook was written by Matthew Quick in 2008. The film rights to the novel were optioned by Weinstein Company in 2007 before the book was ever even published. As the author of the book, Quick was not involved with the film. The film went into production in 2011 and then opened in 2012. The story of the film fell primarily into the hands of director David O. Russell. O. Russell estimated that he rewrote the film's story over 30 times, and some scenes were shot differently each take to allow further changes later in editing. As an end product, Silver Linings Playbook the film was extremely successful. At the 2012 Toronto International Film Festival, it won the People's Choice Award, an accolade that would foreshadow its later success both critically and commercially in 2012. The film became the first film to be nominated for the Big Five since 2004, and the 4 top acting categories for the Academy since 1981. Jennifer Lawrence would eventually win Best Actress for her role as Tiffany Maxwell. Adaptations can be approached by loyalty to the source material or by creating an almost new story, but they must still hold true to the themes and mood of the novel. Many adaptations of young adult novels turned movies, such as the Hunger Games and Harry Potter series, are often judged based on their ability to capture and reflect as much of the source material as possible, while still tailoring the tale to a cinematic piece. Silver Linings Playbook is a very interesting story to address in the examination of adaptation, because even though the novel was written as a jumping board for a future film, the leap from page to screen is quite significant. We will examine these primary differences between the two pieces, the origins of these changes, and whether or not they serve the overall purpose of the story. We will also look at whether or not this affects whether the 2008 novel or the 2012 film are the more superior of the two pieces. David O. Russell expands the role of many of the minor characters of the novel, including Pat's mother and father, Danny, Pat's friend from the mental institution, friends Ronnie and Veronica, and he adds the role of Randy, a friend of Pat Sr. These additions are made to create a large family atmosphere that is characteristic to David O. Russell's directing style, and to expand the story past Tiffany and Pat to create a larger emotional resonance for the audience with the characters and their mental health. Pat's father, played by Robert De Niro, is actually given OCD in the film, which he does not have in the novel, as a way to address more mental health issues than the novel itself addresses. The character of Tiffany Maxwell is also altered to a degree. The age of the character was lowered to allow Jennifer Lawrence to play the role. Lawrence was 21 at the time of filming, and the character of Tiffany is portrayed in the novel to be somewhere in her early 30s. David O. Russell addressed concerns about the significant age jump of the character by adding in this dialogue.
How old are you?
Old enough to have a marriage and to not wind up in a mental hospital.
Changes made to the level of Tiffany's betrayal and amends also shaped the character in a different light. Part of the changes in Silver Linings Playbook is also due to the expansion of the film from the novel, which is told mostly in the first person by Pat, and later through letters of correspondence, something which would be difficult to capture on screen. Next, we can view the plot changes that occur in the film contrary to the novel. To begin, the novel does not include the plot of winning the bet for Pat Sr. using the Eagles in the dance competition. The film also shows Tiffany writing one false letter to Pat pretending to be his wife, and in the novel they falsely correspond to 2 months. The novel also chooses to keep the true cause of Pat's mental breakdown and separation from his wife a secret for most of the story. The film does not keep this a secret, and trailers for the movie actually advertise this plot point, which is so heavily guarded in its literary counterpart. By changing the plot of the film to include a win-or-lose situation, Russell gives the audience a reason to continue with this large cast of unpredictable and unruly characters, and eventually find beauty in their madness. The plot of the novel allows for this to occur for Tiffany and Pat, but an alteration is made for the film to encompass this large cast of characters and to better keep the attention of the audience. This plot is used to draw in the audience in the same way that the mystery of Pat's illness is used in the novel. The change in Tiffany's betrayal does, however, alter the story a great deal, as it pertains to the ending of the story through the couple's possible forgiveness and reconciliation.
The only way you can meet my
Crazy was by doing something crazy yourself. Thank you. I love you.
As we view the changes made to Silver Linings Playbook, we can see that the alterations to character and plot directly affect one another in this adaptation. Their effect also reaches to the end of the film, which is also quite different from the book. An interesting change in the ending of the movie compared to the novel is the return of the character of Nikki. In the novel, Pat sees Nikki one more time from afar and is able to see the new life that she has built. However, in the film, Pat directly addresses Nikki as she returns to the dance competition. By having Pat speak directly to Nikki, Russell is encouraging the character to directly confront his issues and to make a true choice between the life that he has lived and the life that he wishes to live now. The Silver Linings Playbook ends with Pat and Tiffany attempting reconciliation. They express their deep need for one another, and the novel ends with their forgiveness and future hope with one another. The film forgoes this ambiguity, and instead, romantic confessions are given and a kiss is had. The film, instead of ending with just Tiffany and Pat, showcases the whole family together on Sunday, and Pat narrates over the scene, speaking on the lessons he has learned and his current happiness. In today's modern Hollywood, having an adaptation is one of the best ways to make sure that you're at least going to have an audience show up to your film. Because of this, adaptations are becoming more popular than ever, and so as audience members, we must begin to address how we ourselves are receptive to these adaptations. Many times, we immediately look at the film and compare it to the book as something less and as a shadow of what could have been. I believe that this approach is wrong. I believe that Silver Linings Playbook is a perfect example of what happens when a story is adapted away from the text but still controls the ideas and the themes of the author. Silver Linings Playbook the movie is extremely different from Silver Linings Playbook the book. As someone who read the book originally and then saw the film, I was blown away at how the changes actually made me love the story more. However, in the end, you may have a different opinion. Some of us will love the book more, and some of us will love the movie more. What I argue is that instead of looking at adaptations as black or white, the movie or the book is better. We should look at these as stories of a continuum. A book is sometimes based on something else, historical events, personal narratives. It itself is an adaptation of someone else's stories. I believe that as we continue to create and be receptive to adaptations in the media and entertainment world, we should stray away from this idea that one is better than the other, and instead look at the amazing things that artists, creators, directors, writers, and actors can do when they are asked to bring something from the page to life on the silver screen.